Yo, what's up, Warriors? Welcome back to the State of Shogun here on April 26, 2025. I know this is like a weekend update today. We're going to try to do these about 6 days a week. All right, listen, what we're going to be slicing up today, we're going to be talking about a corporation and a $100 million Solana buy this week, as well as another corporation that has put in and staked over $500 million, what we call concentrated stake value on Solana. And of course, we're going to be talking about the infamous Bunk out there leading that meme army back into the fight again. We're very excited about this week and what's to come for next week. Let's get slicing. All right, let's jump right into it. We're going to jump over to our boys over at Upexi, a Florida-based company built out in 2018 time. Listen, the whole world is trying to find their foothold in this process. The first shot has been fired by Upexi as a corporation. It's a consumer products, things from health and wellness to all kinds of things, e-commerce, everything in there. Real simple process. They announced it back on like the 4th or 5th of March that they're going to be doing this to their shareholders, and then they really start getting involved with the concept, hey, we got to jump in and we got to stake it in. So what do? And they're raising $100 million, not for stock buybacks, not for products, not for some sort of just floating in and sort of passing stuff out, but going all in on Solana. They mention this and their stock price soars through the roof. We'll jump over here. This is back when they mentioned it at sitting down at $2.49, 5-year low, and then all of a sudden they announce this and it's popping up, going over. I want you to keep an eye on this company. This is a strong company. Yeah, financial advice out my ass, right? But I want you to pay attention to this because any corporation that's like this, that's putting it out there, when corporate suits are start holding and hoarding the soul, they're going to start hoarding it in, right, to keep it out and keep it structured. And at $100 million worth, that's a lot of soul, people. This isn't your Uncle Bob buying 3 soul to do an airdrop. This is a big thing. This is a huge strategy for this particular company. A lot of good stuff. So make sure you keep it out. I'll keep their links to their company. You can check out their company info, kind of look into this company and really find the fundamentals here. But why I'm telling you this is because when we find companies that are like this, we know that the state of Solana, as well as the state of Shogun and crypto, is strong. So, stay asleep if you want, man. But, when you find these kind of companies, I'm your guy to get out there and try to find these companies to figure out what they're doing and why they're doing what they're doing. Now, if they were doing it in the opposite, I tell you as well. So keep the notifications on and subscribe to the channel to make sure you get these kind of updates. Super plays happen all around the world with all these big giant corporations, but you can't hide them anymore. They have to put their information out. A Canadian company called Soul Strategies issues a New York company called ATW Partners $500 million worth of convertible notes. What's a convertible note, you ask? Well, it's sort of like a little mini loan, if you will, that company, ATW, can take and turn into Solana stake. Right? So they're going to stake Solana with that $500 million. And why is that good? Well, it will accrue interest from that process. The loan will also get paid. So they're trading cash for that process from ATW, and they're turning it into Solana, which is then giving them interest back, while the other company is putting money into Solana as well. So it's like this one washes the other, and it kind of makes it all work. Super huge, but the bottom line simply comes down to one variable, that Solana stays staked and pretty strong. Having a look at Soul Strategies, very big company, very well organized in the process. Again, I'll put some of the links to their bios and their stuff that they do. They're being traded on a Canadian network, right? $3.15, pretty powerful. Their buddies over there, ATW, again, a big investment firm, really strong. Do some of your own research and look at this process. But really, this comes back down to more Solana plays happening that just strengthen this industry, strengthen the meme coin world, and now we're starting to get serious. Builders are building. And again, when these corporations start passing money through the things, you got to look at it. Soul staking, single side staking, these are things that are pretty powerful. We're going to be coming out with some training for all of you pretty soon, a little alpha release, so you can learn how to do this as well and make some bucks on that accruement of the Solana staking system. All right. All right, up next, let's talk about another indicator and marker of a great network to come. We're about Bonk. Our friends over at Bonk, let's go over and have a look. Super cool company, of course, with all the tools and everything. I sort of model my mentalities around Bonk, and I look at the diversiveness that it is and has become. It's a true indicator of what the industry is, and all the great stuff that they have. I remember when they first started in this process, so it is something that I've seen what they've had from before and where they're growing, and it takes money, it takes time, it takes determination, it takes people, all that kind of good stuff. But if we jump into their project list of things, they've really outreached. They have a good collab with a lot of people. It's not just all Bonk, but they're by Lucky Dragon Tail and all that kind of good stuff. But what really is impressive is that as Bonk is another indicator of what Solana and the markets are doing, that this downward trend that happens and then leveled out for all of March as people were trying to figure shit out, as the SEC got spanked a little by XRP, and started getting away from that fear of everybody going to prison because they're doing crypto. But the increase in Bonk over the last several days to this 1.5 billion from 700,000, so up 15%, and even just in the last 24 hours, we're about 15%, about 12% right now. It's doubled its value in April, so super huge. So again, another indicator of greatness that's to come. Get over there and have a look. But these are things that you can look at for yourself, right? You can see how the industry is going. Jump over to the chart, have a look at the chart. I'll put the link to their chart on DexScreener, so it's nice and easy for you to see. And if you see this thing starting to trail back down again, maybe the state of crypto is sort of falling again or what have you. But don't use it as a single indicator that's out there. All right? See you in the next one.